here's your wrestling news for March 26, 2021. And if you like what you're watching, smash that like button and give us 1,000 likes or more. Your headlines for today include: WWE's plan for Randy Orton was publicly leaked. WWE reached a major milestone. Backstage news on why Keith Lee has been off WWE television. Good sign for Aleister Black's WWE return. What is the current status of Triple H? Peacock taking bold steps for new WWE Network move. Spoiler on upcoming WWE signing, wrestling fans to expect a major shock. WrestleMania match has been changed due to injury. Seth Rollins is tired of fans shaming him. Kylie Ray's in-ring return match is off. It's actually not true. Bryan busts a big myth about Brock Lesnar, and more. We are starting today with Randy Orton, who has spent the past few months being terrorized by Alexa Bliss, who kept his storyline with The Fiend going until Wyatt's return at last Sunday's Fastlane. In 2021 alone, Orton has been coughing up black goo, burned in the face, and has lost matches because of the pair, but apparently that's not enough for WWE fans to get behind the Apex Predator. One fan on Twitter, who regularly participates in the WWE Thunderdome crowds, has noted that during Raw's tapings, fans were instructed to give, quote, big boos for Orton, as despite everything he's been through, he's still considered a heel by WWE's creative team. The fan also added that WWE didn't request specific reactions for any other superstars, or for any reactions for Orton other than constant booing. This is a lot different from the previous babyface direction he was intended to have when this whole thing started, as WWE are now positioning Orton as the heel and Wyatt and Bliss as the cool babyfaces. Orton and Wyatt will look to settle things at WrestleMania, and while it's been rumored a stipulation will be added, we're confident that WWE will make sure Orton is booed at the April pay-per-view. Fans can recap the Orton-Wyatt feud on WWE's various social media channels, which this week reached a huge milestone. On Thursday morning, a WWE press release announced that WWE's YouTube channel had reached the 75 million subscriber milestone. In that press statement, WWE touted that this is more subscribers than the NBA, NFL, MLB, UFC, ESPN, NHL, and NASCAR combined, as WWE must be doing something right to continue gaining new subscribers. At Elimination Chamber 2021, Matt Riddle won the US title from Bobby Lashley in a triple threat match that featured John Morrison, but was meant to feature Keith Lee. Since being pulled from the match, WWE has remained quiet on why exactly Lee has been absent from TV, and it's been noted that he's stopped showing up to the Thunderdome in recent weeks. According to Sean Ross Sapp, Lee is off TV for, quote, health reasons, and WWE have yet to clear him for a return. Now, Fightful Select are reporting that WWE did have plans to make Lee the United States champion, and that win would have come at Elimination Chamber. Instead of the Limitless one, it was Riddle who took the gold from Lashley, a necessary loss so that the Almighty could move on to the WWE Championship. At this point, it seems unlikely that Lee will return in time for WrestleMania, and even if he did, he'd most likely be just another body in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Whether Lee returns soon or not is unclear at this time, but we know that his absence has already cost him his first championship on WWE's main roster. Lee isn't the only AWOL superstar, as Aleister Black hasn't been seen since the October 12, 2020 Raw, but things are finally looking up for the former NXT champion. Despite WWE reportedly having no creative plans for him, and more recent reports that he'd been dealing with minor injuries, Black has been back at the Performance Center a few times in recent weeks, which is a good sign that he's on his way to an in-ring return. Given that Black quickly disappeared after his wife Thea Trinidad was fired, many fans speculated that he too could be on his way out of WWE, but the fact that he's at the Performance Center is a good sign. Of course, being ready to compete after his injuries doesn't guarantee he'll be entering the main event anytime soon, but after not being seen in 5.5 months, this is the best news we've heard regarding Black in a very long time. Last week, Triple H was amongst several members of the NXT roster who needed to quarantine due to an outbreak scare, forcing the game to miss both the NXT taping and the subsequent Raw. Now, Triple H is back to work, as Wrestling Observer Radio notes that the game is out of quarantine and working in person once more. Though he tested negative, the game had to quarantine as a precaution, and his DX comrades Shawn Michaels and Road Dogg were left in charge of the Gold brand. Whilst the pair held the fort well, Triple H is back in control, and hopefully this outbreak scare is the last for the superstars and staff of NXT. Last week, WWE moved its content to Peacock, and as you'd expect, moving over 17,000 hours of footage is a tall order that requires some extra hands. NBC Universal is now hiring for 3 roles specific to the WWE network, including a director of marketing, a supervising producer, and a manager of brand marketing. These jobs, based out of New York City, were posted on the NBC Unicareers website, and the broadcaster will need all hands on deck if they hope to reach their goal of having all WWE content on Peacock by SummerSlam. Currently, Peacock is only available to fans in the US, and some shows are being edited due to controversial content. We've already reported that Roddy Piper's match with Bad News Brown, where Piper painted himself half black, has been cut from WrestleMania 6, as has a segment from Survivor Series 2005 where Vince McMahon used the N-word. Now, The Hollywood Reporter has explained Peacock's reasoning, and fans can expect a lot more edits to come. According to sources familiar with the situation, the NBC Universal-owned streaming service is reviewing all 17,000 hours of WWE content to ensure it aligns with Peacock standards and practices. WWE is also being made aware of any changes made. In the decades of WWE content on the network, there's plenty of angles and segments that haven't aged well, and time will tell what else is cut from the WWE's library thanks to their lucrative deal with NBC Universal. One person fans will soon see on Peacock is Bobby Tyler, who's signed with WWE. Though the company haven't confirmed the signing yet, the English wrestler has changed her Twitter handle to @StevieTurnerWWE, which will presumably be her in-ring name. At 24, Tyler has worked throughout the world until the ongoing situation put an end to that, and we'll have to see if and when WWE makes this top signing official. At WrestleMania 37, The Miz will face Bad Bunny in singles action, but that wasn't the original match on the card. Up until recently, the plan was Bunny and Damian Priest to face The Miz and John Morrison, with the idea that the 3 professionally trained wrestlers would be able to protect the Grammy Award-winning rapper. Now that match won't be happening, and it's all down to a series of injuries from both teams. PW Insider is noting that both Morrison and Priest are dealing with minor injuries, but added that if both men are medically cleared before WrestleMania, then the match will be changed back to a tag team encounter. With WrestleMania 37 just 15 days away, WWE needs both men to be cleared as soon as possible if they plan on having a tag match instead of a singles encounter between Miz and Bunny. And this minor injury couldn't have come at a worse time for Priest, who will miss having a match at his first WrestleMania on the main roster. From jumping the barricade in a black turtleneck at Survivor Series 2012, Seth Rollins has come a long way, and now the SmackDown superstar travels in style. On Twitter, the former Universal Champion teased tonight's episode of SmackDown, which he promises will be a huge show, and said that he was on his private jet heading to Tampa. This is certainly a more lavish way of traveling than when Rollins was on the indie scene as Tyler Black, and although he's enjoying the luxuries of being a top star in WWE, not everyone is so happy. In a follow-up tweet, Rollins called out fans who were attacking him for his expensive tastes and said that the, quote, Rollins shaming in the wrestling media needs to stop. Rollins didn't specify which parts of the wrestling media world he believes have shamed him, but if he feels that we at Slatrock have done him wrong, we'd love to discuss this in person, though he'll have to pick us up in that private jet first. Earlier this week, we reported that Kylie Ray's in-ring return was set to happen this June, but now that match won't be happening. According to Fightful Select, the Warrior Wrestling match between Ray and Thunder Rosa is off the table, but that isn't down to Ray. It's reported that the match has been canceled due to Rosa's obligations with the NWA and that a suitable replacement is being sought to fill in. After no showing last year's Bound for Glory event, Ray left wrestling in November, telling fans she was unwell, and whilst she remains under contract with Impact Wrestling, her return match is proving to be more difficult to organize. And we're ending this video with Daniel Bryan, who's faced a lot of big names in WWE, and few are bigger than Brock Lesnar. Meeting in a dream match at Survivor Series 2018, Bryan and Lesnar had a barn burner of a match, And during an interview with TalkSport's Alex McCarthy, Bryan refuted fan claims that Lesnar only competes for the money. He explained, "I don't think anybody appreciates how great Brock Lesnar is and the mind that he brings to wrestling. I also think, and from a character perspective, I've said this on a Talking Smack or whatever, but it's actually not true, I think Brock Lesnar loves this. Brock Lesnar loves this. He just also loves farming, loves being at home, and he's not going to do it just because he likes doing it. He's going to do it because, hey, you need to pay me to put my body on the line, that sort of thing, right?" But his eyes light up when he does this. Daniel Bryan was very excited about going toe-to-toe against Brock Lesnar, as the match was always on his wish list. Bryan, however, had envisioned a different setup for his dream clash against the Beast incarnate. Bryan was the Planet's champion and a heel when he took on Brock Lesnar. The leader of the Yes Movement said he would have loved to have been a babyface in the match. "I was thrilled. I was absolutely thrilled. I wanted the Brock Lesnar match for a long time, but how I always envisioned it was babyface Daniel Bryan, Yes Man Daniel Bryan, underdog Daniel Bryan against the killer Brock Lesnar. But I had literally just become the Planet's champion and kicked AJ Styles in the nuts, so it was a really weird thing. I think the weirdness of it also made it fun and made it more pleasurable for me." Bryan admitted that the one-off angle was bizarre, but it made the experience all the more enjoyable for him. Lesnar hasn't been seen since his contract expired after WrestleMania 36, and given that it's expected he'll return when fans do, it seems that money isn't the only factor for when the Beast wants to compete. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.